Hey Catalyst, my name is Jennifer Hung and I am from Southern California. I was born and raised here and I absolutely love it here. I love the people and I love just the diversity, you know, what they call the melting pot. It's always interesting here, and I think if you get to branch out of what city you might live in or area, you really get to see a wide spectrum of people. And I am Chinese American. I grew up with my parents speaking Mandarin, and actually my parents are like trilingual. My parents also speak Taiwanese and Cantonese, and so at home we predominantly spoke Mandarin, and once I started school I started learning English, which has always been kind of a cool experience. Sometimes I definitely hated being Chinese, you know, growing up in a predominantly Caucasian area. You know, you hear the traditional jokes like, you know, my eyes are small and yellow on the outside, white on the inside. No, yeah. But, you know, when I was little, I totally hated it because I'd bring like different foods for lunch and whatever. But, you know, as I've gotten older and as time's progressed, you really learn to value who you are. And I think if you have a great support system, then you're able to do that, which my parents have provided, and the company that I've kept. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you should always value who you are and where you come from, because it really helps you develop into who you eventually become. I believe that life is a continuous learning process, and I think if you adopt that idea, then it leads to greatness and happiness ultimately. So there's a couple of things that I love, and one of them is teaching special ed. And growing up, I always wanted to teach elementary school, so I never really saw this in my future. But what do you really know when you're a little kid, you know? You have these romanticized ideas of what your profession will be, but you never really know. When I first started teaching special ed, I thought I would love it, and I didn't. It was hard. It's extremely challenging, and it really challenged who I was as a person. But in time, I realized that I worked with absolutely amazing people, and I don't think you can get that in other areas. But I love the kids, and it's just a great environment to be, and I found out what I was good at, and I really delve right into that, and that's really helped get me through it all. So now, I guess 3 years later, I really love my job. And another thing I really love is traveling, and I love traveling because you get to go somewhere new. You know, being an only child, it's all about new things and shiny and bright things. So when I get to go somewhere new, I get to meet new people, I get to see new things, I get to try new foods. That's like my favorite part, and experience a completely different culture from my own. And it really makes you thankful and grateful for the things that you do have. And I'm not saying that the places I go or those people are less fortunate. It's just that, you know, it really humbles you. And another thing that I really enjoy is the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. And Relay for Life is a 24-hour community effort that takes up the fight against cancer. It's in memory of those we've lost, in honor of those who have survived, and to celebrate life. And I've been affected by cancer in that all 4 of my grandparents have had cancer. I've lost 2 of them to cancer. My grandmother is a breast cancer survivor, and about 6 years ago, my aunt lost an extremely short battle to cancer, and it left me feeling really helpless, and I really didn't know what to do. And you know, you just mourn and grieve, and that took me to searching on the internet. So hey, the internet's a great thing, right, Catalyst? And it got me connected with the American Cancer Society, and from there I was able to become very actively involved in putting this 24-hour event on, and it's really helped me cope. So I took something that I was passionate about and dove right into something to where I felt like I was making a difference. All of the money raised is for cancer research, education, advocacy, patient services, and I do it in hopes that one day I can tell my kids about the cure, and not about fighting for the cure. Obviously I'll tell them about my story, but not that they'll have to be a part of the fight. And so yeah, I feel like I'm at a really good place in life right now. You know, you think when you're like in your teens, you're like, oh, when I get 20, everything will be fine. And then you get to your 20s and you're like, all right, when's everything gonna be fine? But I feel like I'm at a really good place, and there's still a lot of things I don't know. That's one thing. Don't be afraid to not know. And I leave for Thailand in 1 week, so pretty excited about that.